So, welcome to an episode on the Minnesota American Legion's college training episodes. Tonight, we're going to talk with Paul Edwards and Joe Barsh, excuse me.
You're close.
Was I close?
Yep, you're good. Barish.
I'm Barish. That's how I say it when I practice it too. Both of them are vice commanders in different capacities. And hopefully we're going to learn a little bit about what is vice commanding in the American Legion, some of the ups and downs of it, expectations, how to visit the posts. What do you do when you're at a post? How do you represent the commander? And maybe some of the personality or the character traits that are helpful when you're a vice commander. One of the things I was telling Paul and Joe about is the American Legion is comprised of volunteers. There's very few paid positions in the American Legion, and that's true in the state of Minnesota. We're by and large, a 98% volunteer, 99% volunteer base. Is that about right?
I would think so.
And so if each one of you could let our audience know where you come from, what post is home post, and vice commanding, if you're active, what are you vice commander active of?
Okay. Go ahead, Joe. I'll let you go first.
All right, thank you. Joe Barish here from Post 3 in Jordan, Minnesota. It's actually my first year as a district vice commander. I had been previously commander at our post for approximately 8 years and been in the finance and membership for about 5 years. So little bit, I had some experience with other things in the district and department with baseball and some other stuff and Boy State and pheasant program. But that's where I'm coming from, is Jordan, Minnesota.
Jordan, Minnesota. Thank you.
Well, in my case, I'm a member of Post 627 in, let me send it up here, Nisswa, Minnesota. I'm I'm an odd one to be wearing this white cap because in Legion terms, I'm actually pretty much a newbie. I've only been a Legion member for about 12 years, 15 years now. So I haven't been around all that long. I started in the American Legion out in Washington State. And how that came about, I rode motorcycles and I learned about the Legion Riders. And I learned that there was a Legion Rider chapter just about 6 miles down the road from where we lived. And I thought, that's something I want to do. So I went down and I joined the Legion in there, joined the Legion Riders. About 2 years later, I retired from the Boeing company. And after Sue and I dinked around for a while, and she says, I want to move back to my hometown. I was, okay, I'm an Army vet. I don't have a hometown to move to.
Oh.
So we packed everything up and moved to Brainerd, Minnesota. And we got here, and one of the first questions I asked when he joined the Legion here was, I asked him, I says, do you have a Legion Rider chapter? And one guy, corner of the bar, says, no, we don't have one. The other guy says, well, we want one. I said, okay. So I went to a post meeting and started one. Well, shortly after that, one of the guys that I talked to at the bar got elected to be district commander, and he appointed to me to be the Legion Rider liaison officer. When my job, and I actually had to write the job description because he didn't really know what he wanted me to do. So I looked up, what are we going to do? So I wrote the job description. I started doing it. My job was to go around, visit posts, and help them start Legion Rider chapters. And I think when I started the whole thing, I think there were 2 in the district. By the time I was done, there were 12. And just one thing led to another, and the district knew me because I'd been around talking to everybody, and I got elected to be district commander, which absolutely blew my mind that happened, because I was at the convention down in Minneapolis, and
the 100-year convention.
Yeah, the 100-year convention. I was down there at that convention. Excuse me. And Bill Barbanek walked up behind me while I was getting a drink of water, and he says, "When are you running for district commander?" And I answered very intelligently, "What?"
Yeah.
He says, "When are you running for district commander?"
Uh-huh.
And I said, "I haven't been a post commander yet." And he said, "You don't have to be." Okay. By that time, I'd already had the training. I'd been to Legion College. And I thought, okay, so I threw my hat in the ring and I got elected. And then I stood down for a while, and then they decided that I'd be a good candidate to be the department vice commander for the 6th and 9th district, and that's what I'm doing now.
So both of you are going to come with some really rich experience at the commander level and now at the vice commander level, because they're a little different, aren't they? And so,
oddly enough, I still have not been a post commander, but that's next because we have elections coming up and talking to people, and apparently they want me to step up and be the post commander. So we'll see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
But the term has commander in the vice commander, so you are just a representative of, I think, just an arm of your commander.
Okay.
You know,
I would agree with that.
You're doing what he can't do or be there present for. So you're his representative. That's the way I look at it. You're representing him.
And so one of the things when you're both commanders, you both had probably missions for that year or mottos. You know, this is what I stand for. And you're saying that vice commanders stand for and in the position of the commander when the commander's not present.
Yes.
I think so. At least at the district and I'm sure with the department level where Paul's at, you know, you're the department commander can't be everywhere. And just like the district, you know, there's 60 some, I think, posts in our district alone, from all the way from Forest Lake down to Pine Island to Gaylord to Nicollet up to Watertown, Minnesota, and Jordan in between there. So, and Hastings, you know, it's a big area. So you're helping them cover the area.
So if someone was interested in stepping into a vice commander role, is it a good role to do to get to know the American Legion, or did it help to have some background?
I would say get to know the American Legion before you step up.
Okay.
Because if you step up before you know the American Legion, you're going to be, wait a minute, what's just happened? You know, how did I get into this fix? So I think in my case, having been would set me in good standing was to be the Legion Rider officer. And I was traveling all around the 6th district, meeting people, finding out how they run things, how their districts, how their different posts operated. Okay. And then when I got elected as the other commander hat.
The district commander?
The district when I got to, sorry, thank you. I'm old. I go senile once in a while. When I got elected district commander, I did the same thing. I went around and talked to these people and find out what was going on. And I had kind of an odd situation because of the COVID epidemic. I ended up serving 2 years as department vice district commander. So that was an odd one. Usually it's just a 1-year term.
Right. But I think that probably prepared you now, possibly, you know, as the department vice commander, and maybe someday if you do go for department commander, those 2 years, I'm not saying I'll vote for you, but I'm not going to wish it upon you. But I think I plan on doing 2 or 3 years as district vice commander to learn how the Legion works before, just like you said, Paul. And the question was, should you know the Legion before you move up? It's a good way to learn it as you're going. And you don't have to always say, well, let me get back to you. I'll get the answer for you or call this person. This way you can answer that question a lot quicker and actually help them.
Yep.
And not try. And when you know an answer, they feel more confident around you and comfortable with you. And if you know the Legion or what they're asking, don't try to buffalo them, because that always comes out.
They're
just
gonna
like
see right
lying.
through you.
That just gets bigger and bigger and stuff. So
Yeah.
you're better off not saying, I don't know the answer, I'll get back to you, or I know who has the answer, I'll call them.
It has nothing when you get into a situation, any kind of commander, is to build a cadre of people you can talk to.
Thank you, because I was just going to bring that up.
Absolutely, because I've got and especially you went to Legion College, and I hope both of you went to Legion College.
Mm-hmm.
You're an instructor. I blame you for that one. When you go to the Legion College, the smart ones come home with a whole stack of names and addresses and email and phone numbers. Okay, because if something comes up in my district or in my department or wherever, I've got this whole cadre of people that I can send off a note to and say, what did you do in this situation? Or have you ever seen this situation? Or what did you do?
Yep.
Yeah, you're building relationships
exactly.
across lines, if you will. You're getting out of your comfort zone, which is probably maybe your home post, maybe it's not, but you're getting out and you're networking. I think that's one of the unique characteristics of the American Legion is the expectation that you have your peers evaluate you on a constant basis, which is what the vice commander role is also, is all these posts are evaluating who you are. Like if you're lying to them, are you someone that's just out for wearing a hat? I mean, what do they call that when you just want to wear the different colored hats and you always want to move on up the chain?
I call it useless.
Yeah. Some just want, if there is a per diem involved, that's all they're looking for,
Oh, sure.
They're just looking for that stipend.
Yeah.
So
I was a vice commander for 2 years in the 3rd district, and visiting the different posts so helped me appreciate the variety of individuals that comprise the American Legion.
To go with that, Kelly, when you say individuals, but think of how many different individuals are in each post.
Yeah.
And how that cog continues to work. And I say this now after visiting all 12 of mine twice now. I'm missing once this year. The cog and how they all work differently, but for the veterans and the youth programs and the national security, the 4 pillars, how they all work together for the American Legion too. It's just amazing how there's so many different individuals, but they're all out there for the same main causes of veterans and youth.
And the vice commander is really to kind of soak that in, know the people that you're representing. You're also representing the commander. So you do a lot of representing.
Yep.
So it really it has nothing to do with you.
No, it does. It's a reflection on yourself and the organization on what, to go back to what Paul said, it's best to know this organization before you get too heavily involved, because it is a reflection back on you on what you know and what you want to pass on to these people and try to assist them. I try not to tell them what to do, because that don't work. You just got to be there for guidance and support and listen to what they're doing, and just give them updates in case they missed an email or something. Just like this last year, national was going up $5, department's going up $3. My main point was, when I visited them all before Christmas, was to let them know that was coming. You need to make a decision that you have to, best interest for you to raise your dues to cover that cost, just to pass up, to emphasize some of the information that's out there.
So you're kind of a newspaper too, like the current news of the Legion, because the posts there's a lot of information that comes flying at people too.
Yeah.
And then the depth of the American Legion. Oh my God, 4 pillars, how many programs, what awards programs, different committees. You can get so lost. And so knowing a little bit about helps.
Yep.
Okay.
Just to be organized.
Yeah. Were there any were there any surprises as you were first stepping into the vice commander role that just like, oh, I had no idea?
No, I don't think so, other than, try to do something that somebody else maybe hasn't done. I wouldn't say wasn't unexpected, but try to do something special for each post, just bring it across, make them feel special, I don't know if that really goes with what question you just asked, but you just try to make each one individual special or bring something, make sure you give them a special treatment feeling, I think.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Paul, you were thinking about it.
Yeah. I think I knew going in that wearing this white cap, I'm representing somebody, not necessarily myself. When I go someplace, it's incumbent on me to always bring greetings from the department commander. Okay. The other thing that I noticed that is different as a department vice commander, I get invited to go places. Like just recently, I went up to Thief River Falls to go up and speak at their Vietnam commemoration event, which was interesting because the week before, Paul Hassing had been up there. He went up visiting. In my case, I was up there, went up to speak. So it took me all to build my speech and talk coherently. So it's in my case, like I say, as a Legion member, I can go to my own meetings, I can go to district meetings or department meetings and things like that. But also, as a department vice commander, I get invited to go places. Say, would you please come to this event, or would you please come to this event? And okay, what do you want me to do? And what I usually do with that is I'll pass the note on to Paul Hassing or membership chairman for the department.
Pam.
And say, are you okay with me doing this? Or do you have something else going on here that you want me to do? So far, they've always said, nope, go ahead, have fun. All right. So far, so good.
Do either one of you let the commander know what you're doing, or do you go and do it? It's just kind of expected of you?
In my case, yes, because it's when I go someplace, I'm representing him.
Okay. And so do you let the commander know weekly what you're doing?
No, just if something special comes up.
Oh, okay. And then
that's probably more, I would say, I could see that happening in the department level, district level. I sent out an email probably 2 or 3 times this year to our district commander and district adjutant just to kind of know what you're doing. So sometimes if you're certain things you're doing like that, they're not blindsided by something for some reason. If you did something, I wouldn't say bad things, but communication is key.
Yeah.
All the way around.
In our department in Minnesota, the vice commanders get a stipend. So I'm assuming you have to track your mileage, time is, yeah?
Not in the district.
Not in the
district.
It's
just a straight fee. You don't get paid. You might get paid a little extra stipend or per diem or mileage if you do usually certain, maybe a rally or something else. You might get some, but for the district vice commander, it's just a set stipend.
Yeah, if I get an email from Mike Maxa or one of the secretaries telling me that this event is happening and I'm supposed to be there, or it's a call to meeting. Okay.
Oh, yep.
And if I get that call or get that email that I'm supposed to go someplace, then then it's typically a stipend and mileage is involved in that. But other than that, whatever I go do, it's on me.
Yeah, because you're both volunteers. The vice commander role is a volunteer role.
And so is the most of all the American Legion. is volunteer,
Right.
You know that going into it, or hope you do, that you're doing good of the American Legion, what you're doing out there, and to help veterans and the youth programs.
Because you're vice commander, you're not out there with your own agenda,
No.
but your character is always being evaluated.
Yep. Sometimes if you think, I'm just saying from what past experience, if you see somebody who thinks they're going to change the world or do something once they get in a position, actually, I think after seeing all these other posts and stuff like that, you might get a change of heart because you see how it all actually works and how it happens. Your agenda may change. So
people that don't have as one of their main character traits service might struggle being a vice commander.
And that's where being almost any position is to have an open mind. So you are willing to change, or don't be so set on a way to do something, or that you've seen it, well, my post does it this way, you guys should do it this way. Have an open mind and try to understand. Like I said before, every post does things so much different, but they work for that individual post,
Right.
So don't try to change that. Be open-minded. Don't have a set agenda.
I learned early in my first year that I had to do a lot of work to find out where the posts were meeting, if the time was accurate, all the information. Then I created my own little Excel spreadsheet.
Yep.
Okay, you guys had to do that too?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that goes with all these reports that you got to make sure they send in CPR report, officer report, stuff like that. That is supposed to be tracked. And that's where I've called in and made them change it at the department or district level. Even though they sent it in every year, things sometimes don't get transferred over to where it should be to the right. Like you said, you made your own. Some things just never got tracked over.
Sure.
Just missed. So you just got to follow up with stuff as a vice commander and do some of that other administrative work.
So vice commanders are a bridge too. Like the communication goes both ways. You're a resource, you're a bridge, you're a relationship builder, and it is busy.
Yep. Goes in, busy. And then to go with that, with these officer reports, and you should know how the premier race and stuff for the district works and stuff, because there is kind of like deadlines, if you want to try to do the right thing to make sure these posts get their reports in, the blood one too, it all helps with different, if you want to try to win this premier race. So it's not just you got to lollygag or wait till the last 2-3 months of the year. It's nice to look at some of these deadlines and stay on top of it and help them. And that's just wanting to know that, again, knowing what's going on in the Legion and how it all works and the programs are, just try to get knowledgeable. Back to that, it's the best to be as knowledgeable about what's going on within the department or the district before you get too far involved.
Thank you. Weather. The 2 years I was a vice commander, we had a lot of snow. And driving in the snow at night, getting to the posts.
I was lucky this year.
Yes, it's not. Well, Nisswa is north, Brainerd, and so it's challenging. I learned it's good to have a reliable vehicle. They expect you, and they don't care if you don't have a reliable vehicle. They kind of expect you to be there. So there's a lot of expectations that posts have too, and then there's just a lot of work that you have to do to make sure that you're there.
I have 2 4-wheel drive vehicles.
Do you?
My pickup and her Jeep.
So you can get anywhere.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I bought a truck.
No, I'm at the point where I'm ready for summer because I just brought the Jaguar out of the shop.
Is it coming to college soon?
It might. It might if the weather holds up. I may drive down there.
Okay. Sorry, Joe, you've already graduated.
Yeah. If you need an assistant, I can be his co-pilot.
Well, you can always come up and be an adjunct professor too.
Okay. When is it this year?
In a couple weeks.
Yeah. I think it's
April, in 2 weeks.
25th.
Oh, good question.
Let me
The
get out my portable
25th,
brain.
26th, 27th, 28th. Yep. In 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. So hopefully the weather will show up. We'll be there. Are there any downs to being a vice commander?
I don't. It's a lot of it has to do, don't you think, Paul, with what your attitude is? Try not to let anything get you down. Turn things around if you can into a positive. Sometimes you hear rumors. Is that a downer? No, that's it. I don't know. So far, it's my first year, so I haven't really had any downers.
No, it's important that any kind of commander, whether post commander, district commander, vice commanders, anyway, it's important that when a legionnaire comes to us and say, I have this issue, to maintain a positive attitude and say, let me investigate that. I'll get back to you. Okay. Or if you already have an answer, present it in a positive way. Okay. So it's important to us that we maintain positivity about the Legion. Okay. Because there are people out there that are angry about the American Legion.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's people out there that are just angry about any organization. I was at a meeting last night, the Masonic meeting, and one of our members goes to Texas during the summertime or during the wintertime. And he told us that at least 2 or 3 of their Masonic lodges down there in Texas had been broken into and set on fire.
Oh, goodness.
So it's people just, I don't know where all this is coming from, where the hatred comes from. But yeah. I'm aware of the fact that there are people that don't like us. They don't like the American Legion. They don't like what we stand for. So it's important that we maintain a positive attitude. It's just something we have to do as commanders and leaders.
Yep. Yeah. Almost everybody, when you bring some of this stuff up, just like the rate increase, it's money somebody has to spend.
Sure.
You have to have a positivity and try to go in there and understand or explain to them what, just like anything else, everything goes up in cost. Postage goes up. You have to try to explain why they're doing it. They're not doing it just to raise the rates to make more money, to give to the adjutant, the national adjutant, or the national commander. They're just trying to break even and keep their break even, at least, I would say. So
keep the doors open.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably maybe the downer. You have to deal with more people that are down about certain questions, and that's where being informed again, knowing what the reasons that try to have those know those answers before you get the question.
Yeah. Listening skills are really vital if in a commandership position, because commanding is kind of a misnomer. You're really guiding and facilitating. You're doing a lot of things besides telling people what to do, especially volunteers, right?
Yeah, like you have the title without the authority.
Right, exactly. None whatsoever.
Yep, there's no rank in the American Legion.
That's what they tell me.
I love that. Here comes my kitty. Nope, he's not going to jump up. Paul has a cat.
We close the doors closed, so he can't come in.
Okay.
So
And
he says you got an important meeting. We'll keep him out tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, mine's whining. He's like, give me some love.
I got a German short here. I don't know if you've heard him whine, but he wants in here too.
Oh, does he? Okay. It's nice to have our animals. I appreciate that.
Somebody loves us.
Somebody has to love us, and they just do it unconditionally. It's just wonderful. Yep. Yeah. Vice commanding, I think, is the place where I learned that the American Legion is first and foremost a service organization. You put in a lot of time, you put in a lot of miles, and you do a lot of learning on your own about the Legion. And then there's also the reporting part too. Like that accountability piece is important because you're accountable to your district for a vice commander, or at your post or at the department. You have to say, this is what I did and what I did with my time. Yep. And I think that's important. And I've always appreciated that about the American Legion. And so we're just not out there running willy-nilly.
Yep.
Right?
Makes you feel good when you do see your answers or help, or volunteerism helps some veteran in need. And, when you're out there, it's a good feeling,
Yeah. Minnesota has a large rural area.
I hadn't noticed.
You hadn't noticed? And computers are usually an issue for some areas. Wow. And so vice commanders really kind of bring information sometimes to individuals.
Right.
Do you guys carry brochures or anything with you?
A few.
Do you?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yep. But the key is to be like that informed again. Have a lot of website, or easy to send them with what you're doing here, and the department has some other stuff, and the national. I've watched some of their training Tuesdays, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There was a couple that were pretty amazing to forward on to somebody if they have questions like how to fundraise, how to get a Legion Riders program. Now that I know Paul, we don't have one in Jordan, but if bring it up at a post meeting, and if it's possible, if Paul couldn't come down, he would know somebody down this way.
Right.
It's being informed on some of, not just what's on a piece of paper. You
right.
can forward them the information to know where it's at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found that was helpful, is just always having something that for the resources piece. Or my phone, I carried my phone, and I made sure I have a good phone that works. It's not a part of the job, but it makes the job or the position a lot easier if I was able to go right on to the internet while the meeting was happening and look up some more valid resources.
Right.
Yeah.
Just think of what we would have done in this position 20 years ago, 25. I've been a Legion member for 28 years.
Oh.
I started in South Dakota in 28 years ago. Just think, I wasn't very active there. I went to a few meetings, but just think of how just this communication, how things have evolved or changed for this organization to help. I don't know what it would have been like to be a vice commander. A lot of handwriting and phone calls afterwards.
It's a totally different world.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your long distance phone calls probably would have been a lot higher.
I'll bet.
Absolutely.
Nothing was, free data or, nothing to talk for a half hour on the phone nowadays. But before, when you were paying for a long distance phone call, right to the point.
Yep, exactly. And then the newsletters. Maybe they used a lot of the newsletters.
Yep.
Yeah, which is now a lot of the websites and things of that nature. Do you find the time commitment a little challenging, or do you just make it work with your schedule? Like, do you schedule visits far out in advance, or how does that work for either one of you?
When I was a district commander, yeah, incredible time commitment because I was probably visiting maybe 2 or 3 posts per week. Just
Okay.
trying to get all the posts because 6th District is a large district. We had
Geographically.
67 posts in this district, so I had to really hustle to get all the posts. I don't think I made it. But like when I was wearing that cap, I was like I said, I was visiting 2 or 3 posts a week. As a department vice commander, not so much.
No.
If Paul Hassing calls up and says, "Can you go here and take care of this?" Okay. That's I go to the department meetings and things like that, and but that's about it.
And then you're also a vice commander for a specific area, aren't you, Paul? Not
Yeah,
the
the
whole
6th and 9th district.
6th and 9th. So that would be Upper Minnesota,
Yeah.
large geographical regions.
Yep.
Okay. And then Joe, you're in 3rd district, which is more the southern, a little bit of the mid Minnesota, and the
Yep.
geography is a little bit tighter.
Yep. I mean, area wise, I don't know how with my area, I think from my house, I just happen to be right in the middle. So it's 40
Okay.
miles one to the farthest post that I visited, 40 miles the other way,
Okay.
but that's a district in one area. So, yes.
Yeah.
And it happens, and then Paul probably seen this too when he was district commander, that a lot of posts are that second or third week, it seems like. I have one where the first Monday of the month, I think I have just in my area, there's 3 or 4 posts. So it took several months to try to get the first Monday taken care of meetings,
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's where the 2 posts I have left or happen to be the first Monday of the month. So it takes a little bit of challenge. And I don't know, Paul's retired. I don't want to speak, but sometimes he's probably busier. He probably doesn't know how he had time to work, when you volunteer sometimes. But I'm very lucky. My wife, Holly, is very understanding and lets me go do it. But she doesn't have much to do with the Legion or auxiliary or nothing. So I'm lucky on that part. She allows me to do it. If my kids are grown now, 28 and 29 and 26, but before I did a lot more stuff locally when they were younger in middle school. I happened to be department or just post commander, church councils, youth baseball association, all at the same time. But that was more local, so I didn't have to worry about traveling. So
sure, yeah.
I had to look out the window. We've got a thunderstorm coming in up here.
Huh.
Well,
that's
rain.
too
no
bad.
snow.
It's not here.
Yeah, at least no snow.
Oh, yep. My husband, he did a lot of the driving in the wintertime when he was more free. And I wasn't able to start getting active in the American Legion until I had more free time. The kids are growing.
Yep.
They're involved and things of that nature. So one of the things I always tried to emphasize is, and National's aware of this, and I know the department's aware of this, is that there are chapters in our lives. And usually when the kids start getting a little bit more independent, people start looking for service organizations, and they want to belong to ones that are active, that fit their values. And if the military, they really want to reconnect with that military. So we have a lot of gray hairs in the American Legion, and I think it's always been that way.
Right.
Yep.
And that
goes gone beyond gray. These are white.
Oh, white. Sometimes we have white. Sometimes we have a hairstylist. Huh?
Some call it silver fox.
Some call it a silver fox.
But to go with what you're saying, when you have more time, you get more involved. That's one thing as at least a district vice commander reading some of this, like what I'm supposed to be doing and stuff.
Yeah.
It also says in there, look for future people that,
Always.
look that they're at a meeting, that after you've talked to them, their kids are getting older, or just take a sense and listen to what they're saying and see if they'd be a good fit for a future leader, to maybe move up in their post, and also get them in on just a small committee in the district to see how the district works, so they don't have a whole lot of time commitment, but they see how the district works, and to try to keep, as we all know, we need to get a lot more younger people back involved. It's hard with I don't know if this is off topic, but we need to change and try to get out there, find these veterans, because I've gone to 12 posts twice, so basically 24. We need to reach out to the females. There was, out of all those posts, there's only 3 females at all the meetings.
Yeah.
And minorities, they're out there. We just got to get connected with them and talk to them, and show that they are all. We need them all, and for the future of the American Legion, we have to promote our good values of the American Legion and try to pass it on to these posts to tell them to bring in these other people. We have to work together. It's not just trying to renew who you already have. We need
that openness of being open.
Yep.
It's following on what you said. It's what's the word? It just bothers me no end when I hear membership chairman at district and post level say, okay, I've contacted all of our members who haven't paid their dues, and we gained a few, but we're going to keep on calling until they pay the dues. And my thought is, what are you doing to get new members? What are you doing to go out there and find new veterans, new youngsters to come in and join our posts? There's a high probability that in a few months I'm going to be post commander. I have mentally committed myself that anytime there's an event at our post, whether it's whatever, a banquet or whatever, I'm going to take time. I'm going to go there and take the microphone for a few minutes and talk to them just for a minute or two about the American Legion. Now, obviously, I'm going to skip weddings and funerals, but most any other event, I'm going to be talking to them. I say, look, we want you to join. If you were a veteran or related to a veteran by birth, marriage, or adoption, we want you to be part of our family. So come and join us. Here's what we do. We'd love to have you. So that's something I'm going to do. I'm committed myself to do that as a post commander when I take over in a few months. So we'll see what happens. Another thing we've got, I tried to push it last year, and because of some health issues and et cetera, it fell apart. But I'm trying to get our district to support a booth at our local county fair.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Go in there and talk to them and just set up. Come and talk to us about the American Legion. Here's what we do. Here's what we can offer you. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity.
I know I'm getting some pushback already, but that's okay.
One of the things that talking about minorities or gender or anything like that, the American Legion doesn't discriminate and never has. The very fact that the American Legion allowed women to be in the Legion in 1919 before they even had the right to vote in our country spoke volumes about the character and the legacy or the heritage that they wanted to have move forward into the future. They knew that our country wasn't there yet because women couldn't vote, but they could serve our country in some capacity. And then you had a variety of individuals of different skin color, different religions, different cultures that have always served our country. And the American Legion said they have a place at the table. But then you get organizations, we have our ups and we have our downs, we have our chapters, and we're also a reflection, if you will, of our culture, where we are. So I've always appreciated the American Legion said these are our goals. These are our values. This is our mission. And we're going to keep working towards that. So we lead the way in that. But as a vice commander, then I'm hearing, and that's my experience, is you take all that with you, and then you have to present it in the most palatable way possible. And always be available and not get offended, because service isn't about being offended. It's not your agenda. You're really out there representing. Initiative is also something that both of you talked about, and that has been my experience, is vice commanders have to take the initiative. Posts aren't going to call you unless there's a special speaking event, right? But that expectation, and when you don't show up, then they'll talk about you. We never had a vice commander come and visit us, blah, blah, blah.
Heard that a lot.
Yes. And I was just trying to think, did I visit Jordan at all? Because I had 2 different areas, and I'm just trying to wonder if I visited them or not, because I didn't always get to all of them. And then COVID was involved with. COVID did such a number on the relationship building piece.
It did.
And so for both of you, as vice commanders, the American Legion is at that rebuilding stage. I mean, we're all ready for it. And volunteering has dramatically gone down all across the country. So I don't think it's going to change nationally. As far as volunteer organizations, you just have to do more with less, or do less with less. But at the same time, the vice commanders, that bridge is a positive representation of the commander. Yeah?
Yep.
So brushing your teeth is a good thing. Taking showers is a good thing. Right? Looking good, wearing clean clothes, that's a good thing. Know who you represent.
That's why I put this on, because I've been outside working, and this T-shirt I got underneath is kind of grubby. I've been working outside today, so
It was just beautiful today.
it was.
So
It was.
yeah.
I got the Jaguar out and ready.
Oh dear.
But have you ever really seen a bad day a bad day when you're retired?
Yes.
Oh, you have.
Oh yeah.
Other than for health reasons, I don't know if I could find a bad day if I was retired. But go back to about that, we didn't discriminate, but this is a very good pamphlet, little book to read.
The Century of Service booklet?
Yes.
Where did you get that, Joe?
Got that. I believe they sent it or gave it to us at the National Legion College. It's talking about how it all started, and right away, one of the first things, part of, not the preamble, but part of one of the first resolutions is what you talked about, was not discriminating. Did anybody was welcome that was a veteran. Way back in 1919, March of 1919, they came up with that. So I just started reading it again, and it just picking up on some of that stuff, and try to talk about the history, to try to get new members and talk to them about the history of what the Legion, where it came from and what started it. World War I. We don't even, there's a lot of us don't even know much or knew any, or at least me, not a lot of World War II veterans that I knew. A lot of my grandparents and relatives were gone. So it's the Vietnam. So trying to understand that this program started in 1919 organization.
Yeah.
So
when they had the draft,
yes,
Vietnam vets are the last representation, Paul Edwards, of people that possibly could have been drafted. Conscription.
Yep.
Since 1973, all of us that served in the military did so of our own volition.
Yep.
Yep.
I think that's another dynamic to what veteran service organizations are dealing with is you no longer have individuals that want to bond together because of their experience. You really, they're going to join because they want to, because there's nothing that would make them. And there's other service organizations out there that are doing things that they like to do, like service, getting involved in doing things. That's one of the things I hear about.
Yep.
So when I visited my post, I was always encouraged, like all the things that the posts are doing. It's like, oh my gosh, you do this and you do that. So I would keep a little notebook of what this post was doing, what this post did, fundraisers, all the fun things.
Yep.
And I would share that. Sometimes when I would visit the other posts, I'm like, hey, did you know blah, blah, blah does this? And they just have a blast. Might not work for you, but
Yep.
they like it.
I was in from 84 to 90, so I was in a very good time. There was nothing. It was before the Gulf Wars, so that it's hard for me to understand the ones that went over to Afghanistan, Iraq, and all that what they dealt with. So you got to try to understand and pick up on what they've gone through.
In Minnesota, Paul, go ahead.
I'm of the military generation. I actually know people that are on the wall. I have names. I know there was one guy in particular. He lived in the barracks with me at Fairchild Air Force Base. He was a tail gunner, went over there and got shot down. And so it's just every time I go to the wall or a mock-up of the wall, I make sure I keep his name alive.
Yep.
Yeah. One of the things I learned at the post when I was the vice commander, state of Minnesota doesn't have a fort. We don't have a federal presence. We have a small contingency up in the Twin Cities area, but we have the Red Bulls and we've got the Minnesota Army National Guard and the Air Force Guard. And that's what I served in my second time I served the military. I'm a Red Bull. And they served in Afghanistan, they've served in Iraq, they've served in the Civil War, they've served in the Spanish War, so, but they are a different type of a veteran than what a lot of us think about when we think veteran. And so what I learned was that they were integrated into the posts. So my vernacular would change a little bit. Active duty isn't necessarily a word that Guard units or the reserve think about. They think of Title 9? No, not Title 9. Title 10. Orders 10. Chapter 32's Title 10, and there's another one too. They have different language when they get activated.
All those numbers. Hike.
Do you guys have any parting words of wisdom you want to leave with us?
This organization can be what you put into it and what you can get out of it. If you want to put in a lot, you think you're going to help veterans, a lot of veterans can get benefits out of this. Just like if you do a lot with the benefits of, I'm the district boys state chairman. I'm also the assistant boys or baseball chairman here in 3rd District. And I'm also on the pheasant feed program. What you put into it is what you're going to get out of it.
That's true.
For the people that you see you help, it is unbelievable, these boys state. And we don't have an auxiliary, so I do the girls state too here in my post. It is unbelievable the knowledge and excitement these kids get when they come back, and try to pass that on as a vice commander to make sure they get out there and get with a school. Make sure you get with a teacher. Just don't drop the paperwork off. Be involved in that school district. to try to get those kids, because it is unbelievable what you get out of it by getting them to go. So you get what you put into this organization.
Thank you, Joe.
I agree. It's view the American Legion as a child that's growing. They'll make you crazy, but would also bring you greatest awards imaginable. Because when you do what you're doing and things happen correctly, and things happen like they're supposed to, and a plane comes together, it's like, yeah, that happened. Other times you look and say, really? Did we really do that?
Yep.
So it's like I say, it's like a growing child. They need to be educated, they need to be trained, but it's definitely worth the effort.
Yes.
If someone's interested in becoming a vice commander, what would you recommend to them?
Run away.
Okay.
Just get to know the leadership of your organization. At the department level, just make sure you get to know the leadership and determine in your own heart and mind, are those people that you can work with? Because if you watch who the leadership is and who's coming up, you kind of get a feeling of how they're going to be and who they're going to be. And it's like, now I was fortunate because when this election came around where I got elected, Paul Hassing, Chuck Stone, and me, all three of us were running for office, and it just kind of tickled me because all three of us are Legion Riders.
Oh, see,
and
you already knew everybody.
Yeah, I knew them, so that's something that's new and different because we'd never had that kind of a leadership in the American Legion where everybody was or several of them were Legion Riders.
Sure.
So it's, if you're thinking about stepping up, and look who else is coming up, and are these people that you can work with?
Right.
Okay. Joe?
Just was going to go with that. If let them get some small experience with the post, the district, just before you try to become a district officer like this, where you have to travel a lot. Make sure you understand the travel requirements, and that you should be going to visit these posts at least once. Try in your area, in the district level, try to visit those posts at least once, so understand what you're getting into before you raise your hand and want a blue and white hat. Not just a white hat. It's not just. Don't look at it by what you're wearing. Just look at the title first before you understand what that's going to take time commitment from you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. This is